a bitch session.
Well, it wasn't all bad. I'm trying to be an optimist here. But anyway, we should be live now. Welcome, everyone, to Down the Middle. Today is a very exciting day because we're going to be reacting to not just one, but two, I would say pay-per-views, but only one was technically a pay-per-view.
Yeah, technically.
But Money in the Bank used to be a pay. Well, no, was Money in the Bank ever a pay-per-view? Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's been a pay-per-view.
Yeah. Okay, so Money in the Bank has been a pay-per-view. So one pay-per-view and one former pay-per-view. And if you can all bear with me just 1 second, I'm trying to make sure that our audio is good, but for some reason, bear with me just 1 second. Go ahead and shout out to the fans.
Hey, you fans.
Go ahead and shout out to the fans.
Hey, you fans.
Okay, we're good. All right, well, we will, which not to get off topic, but I'm actually extremely proud of this week's episode title. I opened the forbidden door and all my money in the bank was gone.
Now here, I'm gonna be a bad little noodle and tell myself I did not watch much of Forbidden Door yet.
Oh, okay.
I have, so I know some things that have happened, but I've not went through and physically watched it yet.
Oh, don't worry. I've got plenty to say about Forbidden Door, and I was good. I was good.
I did catch Money in the Bank. I watched it. The Forbidden Door I didn't catch all of.
I was going to say I was good because I watched both. Now, I watched Forbidden Door live. I watched Money in the Bank on Friday night, and... Okay, anyway, we're going to jump right into Forbidden Door during the pre-show, where we saw the talents of Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi teaming against The Factory, consisting of, oh god, I knew I should have written the names down. I believe it was Aaron Solo and QT Marshall, if I'm not mistaken. But it doesn't matter because this match was... I mean, it wasn't bad. It was actually a pretty decent one to open the show. And I think I mentioned on the last episode that I'm a fan of Hiroki Goto. And Yoshihashi, I mean, this is a me thing. He's not bad, so I don't want people to misunderstand. I'm never excited to see Yoshihashi wrestle. He's always just kind of there for me. But I think that's a preference thing, not a... because he's certainly good. God, he's been with New Japan for, 20 some odd years? But I will say, Yoshihashi, right out of the gate, I had hope for this pay-per-view because Yoshihashi got out of the way of a dive. He just took a step to the side, just dodged it. I was like, holy shit. At least the New Japan guys aren't going to look stupid. Hold that thought. At least for this match, like I said, it's a decent match, especially since it's the first one of the pre-show. I'd say it set the tone fairly well because the New Japan guys looked serious and the AEW guys looked like a fucking joke.
It's nothing new.
Yeah, I was going to say, so it kind of set the tone perfectly, but Goto got the pin, and I even said, I was like, this is another one of those matches where it's like, who's going to win, because if the people who should win don't win, you just roll your eyes and are immediately taken out of it. So I knew Goto and Yoshihashi were going to win because the Factory are jobbers, and yet they're AEW's training facility, or one of AEW's training partners. Yet everyone who's in the stable is a joke. So figure that one out for long-term storytelling. Especially now that Cody's gone and you don't have the Nightmare Factory anymore for them to go against. You just have QT Marshall's Factory, even though they're the same fucking thing. But actually, no, I don't. Are they the same thing?
I think they are.
I think it got renamed the Nightmare Factory because QT Marshall had the factory, And then I think Cody bought into it, and it became the Nightmare Factory. Because I know the Nightmare Factory still exists, and Cody still trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, which I like. I like that Cody's still doing that, and I'm sure that was part of his deal where it's like, hey, listen, I'm not going to openly publicize that I'm helping some of the guys for AEW, but I guess to that extent, they're not officially married. Like, there's a lot of people from the factory that are in AEW, but there are other people that are elsewhere, which I like. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, I think it should be like that also.
Yeah. Anyway, the next match wasn't even advertised, so I was kind of surprised. At least it wasn't advertised that I saw. We saw Lance Archer, and in the spirit of this co-production event, going against another AEW guy, for some reason, Nick Camarado, who's the big, burly, bear-looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
Again, this match belongs on Dark.
Yeah.
This isn't even a pre-show pay-per-view match. Like, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, here's my opinion about Forbidden Door in general. If it's an AEW guy versus an AEW guy, it shouldn't be on Forbidden Door.
Thank you. The one exception is the women's division, and that's just because New Japan doesn't have a women's division.
Yeah.
But other than that,
they got a little bit of a women's division, I think.
No, New Japan does not have a women's division. They have a sister promotion, but New Japan Pro Wrestling does not have a women's division. And it's real loose. Okay. It's real loose. Which I'm kind of surprised that New Japan hasn't come under more fire for not having a women's division, but frankly, not to say, I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but I don't care. Not to say that New Japan would be worse if they had a women's division, but New Japan would be worse if it had a women's division. I mean, because New Japan has crafted a look, a style, and a feel that, you know, strong style. Like, it's hard hitting. It's very, now granted, this is slacked in the last couple of years, but I remember when I hardcore got into New Japan, it was like a whole new world because it was like, holy shit, they treat this thing like it's legit. Yeah. And one of the ways you would get away from that is if you had a women's division, because inevitably, now, if anyone can have a legit looking women's division, I think New Japan could do it. But let's be real. The average Japanese girl, no matter how athletic she may be, you're going to have to suspend some disbelief to think that, I don't even know what the average weight, let's say the average weight for a Japanese female athlete is about 100 pounds. Let's just, I'm pulling numbers out of the air, but let's just say, because it proves my point, like, I think the heaviest one on average might be like $120, $125. These are not giants. For them to take the punishment that, let's say, some of the guys take, and I know it's pro wrestling, but they make it look legit. I think your average audience, both here and in Japan, would be horrified. I'm surprised at a lot of the stuff that, like, American wrestling gets away with when it comes to, you know, female divisions, women's divisions.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine having that Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match 10 years ago?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, God. Horrified. It would have been horrible. And I think things like the UFC introducing a women's division have gone a long way for that. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying if you're trying to appeal to the masses, there's pros and cons for that. Because on the one hand, you can be like, yeah, go girls. But on the other hand, and I think that this is the majority of people around the world are horrified to see that. Just who wants to see women bleed? Like, who wants to see that? It's one thing to be like, oh, shit, that's intense. But who's like, yeah, I'm going to watch this match because one of those bitches is going to bleed. Yeah. It's going to be good shit. You don't count. You're a hardcore wrestling fan.
Okay.
I'm talking. No, seriously. I like legit. I'm not cutting you out.
You're talking about like a normal, everyday basis fan of wrestling. I understand what you're getting at with that, but like me being a hardcore fan, like that shit's intense. Let's see it.
Yeah, yes, I get that, but this is the same case I made so that I don't be accused of being sexist. This is the same case I made a long time ago with Benji about the Nick Gage match on Dynamite. I thought it was a mistake. I'm not, well, I was knocking Nick Gage, but this is a different. I'm not knocking Nick Gage for existing. And I fully admit it's not my style of wrestling. What he does, he's very, very good at. But my point was, I think Tony Khan had a lapse in judgment for putting that on a prime time television time slot. Because there were people in the audience that were horrified. You could see it on their faces. And that was tame.
Well, do you know what's book coming up also? Between Jericho and Kingston?
No, are they doing something with GCW?
No, they're doing a death match.
Oh, God. You know...
I'm pretty sure that's what I've seen. It's a barbed wire death match, or it's just a regular death match.
Here's the point I made with the Gage match. And I think this is the problem. Tony Khan is a mark. And I get that. And that's fine.
Fucking mark.
You fucking mark! One of the best promos ever. Like, can we just say, like, I had fucking goosebumps. And here's the thing. I know shit's a work, but I'm watching that and I'm like, I think MJF might have duped somebody. I'm not sure. But I think MJF may have had a conversation with Tony. He's like, yeah, listen, I want to do this thing where we're going to play it off. And he gets out there and he's like, fuck it. I'm going to get myself fired.
Okay.
It could be one of two things, and I don't know.
Or, not to get off more topic, or it started out, this was really MJF doing pipe bombs, and then Tony Khan seen something in it and was like, hey, let's turn this into an angle.
You know what? I don't think Tony Khan's that smart. Or, okay, I shouldn't say he's that, because he is that smart. I don't think he's that patient. Now, I could be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong, because what I hope he's doing is they're playing this completely straight. And I hope I'm wrong and that Tony Khan is patient, because can you imagine the fucking payoff?
Oh, Christ, yeah.
I would love for MJF to pull off a Brian Pillman, but actually pull it off with Tony Khan in the know, not like what Brian Pillman did. Oh. I would love for him to get a limited WWE. I don't think he'd get a limited appearance, though. That's the thing. Not anymore. If he was going to appear in WWE, he would be signed to a long-term deal.
Probably.
Unless they just want to get the pantsuit off of them, which, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't think they'd be that. But anyway, back to Forbidden Door, which MJF was not a part of, and I also think, before we jump back into it, I think the build-up for this pay-per-view was the biggest mistake of all, because there was none. This feels like a real random in-between stop between AEW's long-term storytelling. And I've been bad. I haven't been watching New Japan like I should be, because I love New Japan, but it's so long. It's so long, and I have so little time. But I can imagine New Japan wasn't really treating this like a storyline either. So it just seemed kind of...
Yeah, I don't see I don't think New Japan probably set anything up for it. They maybe promoted it maybe once, maybe twice.
It may have been, well, yeah, because come to think of it, and I could be wrong here, so if I am wrong, correct me in the comments. I think Jay White, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, only did promos for this event on Dynamite.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that later. But anyway, yeah, just like this match was a throwaway. And again, you know Lance Archer's going to win. And the fact that Nick Comoroto... Actually, if they're going to put anyone in the ring against Lance Archer and for him to be competitive, anyone in AEW anyway, it should be Nick Comoroto, because at least he's big. At least he's got the size. I'd like to see... You know what I would really like to see? I'd like to see Brock Anderson in an angle with Lance Archer. And obviously, Brock would be babyface, who can never conquer the monster, and then maybe that can lead into a tag team. I think that would be interesting. It's very
That would be
random.
different.
It's very random, but I was thinking that during the match. I'm like, you know what? Because Brock Anderson, I think, can be. I mean, I think he can be a new Arn Anderson.
Yeah, but that's different.
But he's got to. This is the thing. I'm spitballing here, and it's already booked better than Dynamite has been the last couple of months. Really, since Punk got injured.
True.
But anyway, obviously Archer won that bout. And then the last... Oh, I'm sorry. No. This is 2 more pre-show matches. We actually had a pre-show here. We had Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee versus El Desperado and Senor Kanemaru. Now, this match was good. Like I said, El Desperado never disappoints. Kanemaru he's another guy where, I mean, he's a vet. He's an older guy, but he can still go. But he's really, really good at making his opponents look good while not looking like a joke, which I think most of the AEW roster could realistically learn from. And then there's Lee and Swerve, who are their usual selves in this match. It's not bad, not good. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. They are. Wasn't a bad match. It was actually pretty good. I thought it was a good match for a pre-show because, again, it showed the clash of styles. Obviously, Keith Lee got the win because he's twice the size of everyone else in the match. And that's not a knock. I'm just saying, if anyone but Keith Lee had gotten the win here, it would have been, really? Yeah. Now, the one thing I liked is that both the New Japan guys were attacking Lee's legs, which no one seems to do, except Adam Cole did it. I think Adam Cole did it once when they wrestled.
Maybe.
I can't remember. Maybe. Anyway, Lee got the pin. And then the last of the pre-show match, which actually, this one surprised me. We saw the Gun Club and Max Caster against 4 gentlemen from the LA New Japan Dojo. Caster's rap was phenomenal. Like, it was good for Max Caster.
Oh, was it?
This one was good because it's totally knocking the New Japan. It was a good one. I should have written it down, but I remember it being really good. But I also remember thinking, these guys from the LA Dojo, I think only one of them has graduated technically, and then the other, because I think, if I remember correctly, 3 were wearing the black trunks, which is what the Young Lions wear until they're done with training, and then they get to kind of start establishing their own look while they're on excursion. So I think one of them already had his own gear, and then the other 3 were still in their black trunks, which the way the New Japan dojos do their training, I love. It's super old school. You get in, you're given black boots, black trunks, you are one of many. You learn your fundamentals, and you get so good at these fundamentals that, I mean, these guys, and I heard Jim Cornette cutting them up, and I'm gonna agree with Jim Cornette because he knows a fuck of a lot more than I do. But from what I could tell, these guys were, as far as in-ring work goes, and I admit my ignorance, but from what I could tell, these guys were a lot better than, let's say, half the AEW roster. Based on what I saw, and I could be way off base, and if I am, just yell at me in the comments. It's fine. I don't care. But from what I could see...
That's a match I did catch a little bit of. I thought it was a really good match on the New Japan guys' side. I do like the traditional black boots, black tights, everything. It's more of a keeping everybody looking the same until you are ready to go find your own look.
Because what sticks out more, and this is the way New Japan does so many things, I love, because they're thinking very long term, and obviously it's Japan, it's very traditional. But you see these guys in plain black for years if they're featured on TV, which that's another thing New Japan does is they do a lot of mixed tags, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll pair up a couple of the young lions with seasoned veterans on teams. So you get to see these guys, you get to see glimpses of these guys, but they're obviously trainees, they're obviously still learning, and this really lends itself well because if they make a mistake, you can pass it off as like, well, he's a trainee. And the veterans are so good that they can cover for it, and so he can still make a mistake. But again, you're presenting something that as though it's an actual sport. So if somebody flops or makes a mistake, it can be covered and still look like a mistake. So you can be like, oh yeah, young boy, whatever. That's why the seasoned veteran capitalized on it, this, that, and the other. But then when they graduate and then they develop their own look, it sticks out more. And case in point being Shota Umino, who we will see in just a moment on this pay-per-view. I remember seeing him as a young lion. That goes back a couple years ago. He had an interaction with Jericho, and then when Moxley went to New Japan, they were teaming together when he was still a young lion. And now he's got his own look, and it's cool. He sticks out. But I remember, and I'm sure all the other New Japan fans remember when he was a young lion, and now you see him, and the contrast is so great that even though it's only been a couple of years, it feels like forever ago.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is the genius of their dojo system and how they do it. Oh, shit, I didn't even write down who won. Oops. I think the LA Dojo won.
Yeah, but I think they did win, because that's a match I caught.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they won, but I was surprised. I didn't think it was going to suck, but I was surprised how good it was. And for a moment, just for a very brief moment, I felt like a glimmer of the old New Japan that I fell in love with, that made me fall in love with wrestling again. Unfortunately, this would not last. Because the first match of the actual main show, we had members of the Jericho Appreciation Society, those being Jericho himself, Sammy Guevara, and they were joined by Minoru Suzuki, joined by members of the Blackpool Combat Club, being Moxley, who else was it? Moxley Kingston, who isn't in the Blackpool Combat Club, even though they were announced as a Blackpool Combat. Never mind. And Shota Umino. And the winner of this match got the advantage at Blood and Guts the following week, which I'm going to bitch about something real quick here. Multiple times during this pay-per-view in which you had to pay $50 to watch, they plugged an event on free television on a pay-per-view. What the fuck?
Gotta get them views somehow.
Like, what the shit? Why are you plugging something for free on something you had to pay $50 to see? You got that shit backwards. You got that shit, and they should have done Blood and Guts first and used it to advertise fucking Forbidden Door.
Yep.
And here's the other thing that kind of annoyed me is the only reason we had this match is because Blood and Guts was the following week. As opposed to having a showcase of the best that AEW and New Japan had to offer, we get this pile of shit.
AEW versus AEW.
I mean, essentially, yes. With a couple Japanese guys mixed in for funsies. I just had a simple notes here. It's like, Ty Conti is fucking beautiful. Because she is. And
true.
I hate and love Sammy Guevara. Like, I simultaneously want to give him a high five and kick him in the dick. Which I think is what he's going for, so hats off to him. And I can't cut him up too much because I made a comment a long time ago that Sammy could do better. And he did better, so.
That is true.
Good job, Sammy. I saw that and I was like, whoa, shit. Now I kind of feel like an asshole. but it's true. So, there was one moment that made me extremely proud, though, and that was when the audience was singing along with Minoru Suzuki's entrance music, which is in Japanese. And I love the fact that somebody like Minoru Suzuki can be over, albeit with a niche audience, but it's the second largest audience in American wrestling. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that Japanese wrestlers can get over in the States now. I only wish
And that's
it
a
was
good thing
more
for
so.
And that's good for the Japanese people because then they can get over. They can have the American viewerships go over and watch the New Japan stuff,
Right,
and vice
that's
versa.
yeah. And I've always said it was a crime that Tanahashi isn't featured more on American television, and I hope that changes. And I would be,
Yeah,
if I'm New Japan, I would. Their best position is to not be exclusive with anyone, which they aren't as of yet. For a long time, they had an exclusive agreement with Ring of Honor, and I thought that was a mistake because it prevented them from doing much with WWE, even though they did lend Jushin Thunder Liger for one NXT takeover. And I'd love to see more of that. Could you imagine for a moment, WWE, if you are listening, feel free to steal this booking. Could you imagine for a moment, you give Shinsuke Nakamura a title. Like, give him a title that's worth a damn. Like, honestly, give him the heavyweight title, please. Even if you need to split it again. I don't think you should, but give Nakamura the heavyweight title and have him go through a few people. And then he can come out with a manager, because let's be real, Nakamura's biggest strength, even in Japan, his biggest strength was never talking. He's more of a body language sort of guy. So give him a manager that's worth a damn. And then just be like, have that whole, like, you know, is there no one else? Is there no one else? And then Tanahashi descends from the ramp. Mr. McMahon has made a call to find the one man other than AJ Styles. The one man other than Kota Ibushi. You know, the one man who can defeat Shinsuke Nakamura. And he had to go all the way to Japan to get it. Now, this would require... The super fans would love it, but I think the average WWE fan be like, who that Japanese feller? He sure got long hair, tell you what. He looked like a lady over there.
he does. He got that real nice tan body.
He got a real nice tan body right there. He must work out.
I don't think how he walks down that road.
I don't think that's true, especially if the announcers sell it like they sold Jushin Thunder Liger.
That is true.
Because if the announcers sell it, it'd be like, for those of you, and this is one time where Corey Graves could not be an annoying fuck. It'd be like, for those of you who don't know, this man, Hiroshi Tanahashi, however many times, I forget, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, the man who carried the company on his back for a decade. He is the John Cena of New Japan.
True. And you know what's messed up is back to Jushin Thunder Liger. He was on that one NXT, and then he was in the next WWE game too.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes, they had him in a game.
See, and if you do this sparingly, it'd be great for both sides because their wrestlers get exposure in the U.S., and WWE doesn't lose anything from their fans subscribing to New Japan World. It's not direct competition. And then, obviously, you know, WWE gets to bring in exotic talent when they need something, you know, something special. Or let's even go further. Let's say Roman Reigns is your champion. There's a number of... You could bring in Jay White for a while. I think he'd get over to a WWE audience. He'd certainly more so than him appearing on Impact for no fucking reason. Have Jay White show up wearing Bullet Club gear. Because he would. Yeah. He's leader of the Bullet Club. And then they can have this moment with Balor and AJ where they just kind of like... Because you got to remember, Balor was gone, AJ was gone by the time Jay White was even in New Japan, much less in Bullet Club. So it's like there's a shared history there, but it's not direct. It's not so direct as if like Kenny showed up in WWE, because there's direct links there. So then you could have this moment where the hardcore fans would be like, are they on each other's side, or are they? You know, could they? I know Finn's busy. This is just me talking out loud, but
Yeah.
anyway,
My
back
bad.
to the show. Oh, I had some other. I was during this match. I thought to myself, it's like, wow, I would love to see Eddie Kingston in the G1 one year.
I think it'd be nice to see him in it.
Well, I think they're leading to that because there's a couple of people who I think are in this year's G1, but I'd like to see more. I would like to see some And here's the other thing too: is AEW could do something phenomenal here, because if they have a problem, well, they've got many problems. One of their biggest problems is their roster's too big.
Oh.
So what do you do with these guys? Well, let them go international. If somebody's getting stale on AEW television, send them to Japan for the G1. Send them to Mexico for the, King of Kings pay-per-view, Triple Mania. They're already doing it for Triple Mania, so except that they're sending people over for Triple Mania that are also on AEW television, and I don't think I need to go into depth to tell you what the problem is there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if Jericho's getting stale on American TV, hint, hint, send him over to New Japan for an angle for a month or two. Let him work
It's
over
not
there.
like he's already over.
Yeah, exactly. But I would love to see Eddie Kingston in the G1. I think Moxley's in the G1. I could have read that wrong. I know he's been in the G1. But, Oh, Wheeler Yuta was in this match somewhere. That's right. He was the other member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Or maybe he wasn't. I just wrote a note here saying the best thing Wheeler Yuta ever did was getting away from the Best Friends.
Probably.
Frankly, it's the best thing Trent can do right now is to stay away from Chuckle Fuck and Pockets. As Jim Cornette would refer to them. Because I liked Wheeler Yuta okay when he first showed up, but now I'm really liking it. And I knew when he had that match where he got bloodied up all nice against Danielson, or I think it was Danielson. Yeah, it was Danielson. I was like, holy shit. Get him away from those dorks. The gimmicks run its course. It's done. Just break them up. They can have that whole unofficial thing like, yeah, we're buddies, but the whole best friends thing is like, because Statlander's already gone. Yuta's not fucking with them anymore. Trent's back together with Rocky Romero. That just leaves Chuckle Fuck and Pockets. And Pockets has been doing his own thing for a while now. So that just leaves Chuck Taylor, who won't get his contract renewed. I'll bet money on that.
Probably won't happen.
Oh, I'm betting money. Kudos to Tony Khan for not like outright firing people, and I get that, but also kudos to him for not renewing some contracts. Overall, the only disappointing thing was that the Jericho Appreciation Society won, which I understand why they did it, but again, we're putting a match on pay-per-view to build to an event on free television. This is reversed. The match overall had a nice New Japan feel. I liked it. Overall, glad to see some people getting over, particularly some of the Japanese guys. And it was a good match. But the next match may be my favorite match of the night. Not necessarily from a wrestling perspective, although it was good. But once again, some of my favorite moments in wrestling are when I'm not sure if it's a work or a shoot. Like if something might have happened and they're covering it well, or if they planned it all from the beginning. But we saw for the Ring of Honor and IWGP Tag Team Championships, winner take all, we saw the Ring of Honor champions, FTR, taking on the IWGP Tag Team Champions in the United Empire, consisting of Jeff Cobb and Great Ol' Khan, and Roppongi Vice for some reason.
Yeah, I
Now,
did catch this match, and this is
was
probably the best night. It was great. I don't know. I liked FTR back when they were in NXT, and like it wasn't like a consistently like. It was like, man, when they came on TV, it was like, oh yeah, I like watching matches, but like now they're like they need two more people, and they'd be the New Day Four Horsemen.
well, and I think they were heading that way before Punk got injured. Because I think they just needed their enforcer, which they were gonna get.
I don't. I wouldn't like to see Punk part of that.
Oh, I think they will. I think when he gets back, they'll pretty well carry on. But actually, I know why Roppongi Vice was in this match because it actually I'm gonna admit I was wrong. They added to this match, although I'm not sure if it was intentional or not. But I'll be real. I don't know if Dax got legitimately injured or not. They either played it
I'm not.
very well or
I'm not sure either because I think he pulled it off because if he was really injured, I mean, we would have already found out by now.
well, so I think and here's the beauty of it. It really doesn't matter because the storyline and what might have happened are the same. So what we were presented with, whether it actually happened or not, is his shoulder separated and he was taken to the back
Yeah.
and looked after. Now, a dislocated shoulder is not that big of a deal so long as you don't tear anything. It hurts like a
Yeah.
motherfucker, but it can be reset.
Yeah.
So, regardless of whether that's actually what happened or not, what we saw was he had to be taken to the back. He got checked out, and it was enough time too to where like you could believe that he was rushing them along, but they still did their due diligence to make sure he wasn't like really gravely injured. And he came out and it was
Yeah.
wrapped. But I mean, I saw when it happened. I mean, Dax is either a really good actor or he actually pulled his shoulder out of socket.
Yeah.
Because I
Even
can
if
tell
that,
you. Oh, what?
even if you do pull your shoulder out, as long as you didn't tear nothing, you put it back into place, it'll be sore for a couple weeks.
Right. But I was going to say, I can point to the exact moment that it happened or allegedly happened, whether it actually happened or not. Now, the one reason I think it may not have happened, and again, you could chalk this up to adrenaline, so I may be wrong. There were moments where he was moving that shoulder in a way that suggested no pain whatsoever. Because again, if it was put back in, you could move it so long as nothing was torn. But
Yeah.
you would think it would hurt, but at the same time, you're in the middle of a fight. So, like, just the if it actually happened, badass moment that was unintentional and they capitalized on. If it was a work, they played it so straight that I was never sure.
Yeah.
Like, you know how sometimes you can tell they do that whole like, oh, I'm selling my knee, and then I jump up and do a moonsault and land on my feet, and
Yeah.
you know,
And he doesn't hurt at all, does it?
yeah, not at all. There were so many moments, and like, I don't feel like this a lot when I watch wrestling nowadays, but I was like, I was so into this match, and I wanted FTR to win so bad, and you can tell the crowd felt the same way because every time they got close to winning and they got a 2 count, the whole audience just oh, and then anytime anybody else almost got the win, the whole place was just like.
Yeah, it got real quiet.
And I chalk all this up to FTR because they are so fucking good.
They are.
They are so fucking good. I want them to have every tag team. I want them to win all the tag team titles and then go back to WWE and win those motherfuckers too. Just so they can hold those belts. I don't see FTR. FTR is one of those like teams where it doesn't matter where they go. They're going to be over. They're going to get over and they're going to stay over. And then, much to the delight of literally everyone, because I honestly can't see who was pulling for Roppongi Vice or United Empire, FTR won. So now, they just got to get those AEW tag team titles because they are the current reigning Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, IWGP World Tag Team Champions, heavyweight, I might add, because they have light heavyweight, junior heavyweight tag team champions as well. They are
Yeah.
still the AAA tag team champions, and they need them maybe AEW belts. And frankly, they need to put on my FTR because when the Young Bucks won them, everybody was just kind of like, eh. I think more people were disappointed.
I think the only story they want is to set up a storyline for Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy.
Yeah, and I have hope for that storyline, but as of right now, I'm still kind of rolling my eyes. But I'm going to call it. I'm going to spoil it for you all. The only reason Luchasaurus is going along with this, what Christian said to me was like, hey, I'm doing this for Jungle Boy. He needs to get that killer instinct, which I like. But I don't know. I think you can do it better, but I'm not complaining too much.
Yeah. I do like the look of Luchasaurus right now, though.
I will say, and I like Luchasaurus being in squash matches. My only real kerfluffle with the last one he was in was that it wasn't a squash match. Like it was, but the other guy got offense in. I'm like, oh God. But anyway, as we established, FTR wins. They are the greatest tag team in the world right now. I don't care. Fight me. And they ain't doing no flips. Just fists, motherfucker. Love it. Fuck the rest. FTR's the best.
Yep. There you go.
Next.
When do you get that shirt made? Get it established.
Well, they already have F the rest. But yeah, just add that. There you go. ShopAEW.com. Fuck the rest. FTR's the best. I feel like there should be an amen after that, but anyway. Next, we had the four-way match to decide the first ever All-Atlantic Championship match. The first ever All-Atlantic Champion. Yeah, I said that right. And if I'm not mistaken, we inadvertently had a match where every competitor is from a country that borders the Atlantic Ocean, unintentionally.
Yeah, and are all from AEW, except for
the one New Japan guy, but he's from the U.S. So,
but wasn't he a fill-in though for somebody else?
Yes, it was supposed to be Tomohiro Ishii, who was injured somehow. Which, by the way, this
was
pay-per-view. No, he was injured. Takahashi was the one who was sick.
Okay.
Oh, that's one thing I wanted to. If the FTR thing was a work, I think they came up with it because, honestly, ask anybody. This pay-per-view was cursed. There were so many people. There were so many people out for injuries, and honestly, when it happened, I was like, fuck. Because I thought FTR wasn't going to win the belts now because if Dax is injured, obviously they can't win.
Yeah.
I thought they were like, what if we do an injury angle right in the middle of the match? I was like, if that's true, you guys are so good. If you weren't so good in the ring, I'd say make them agents and wrestlers, please. But anyway, this saw, and I'm kicking myself because I didn't write it down. The New Japan guy, because he was pretty good. I just can't remember his name. We had that guy, Pac, Aleister Black, Malachi Black, and Miro. Now, you and I both thought Miro was going to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Miro's country does not border the Atlantic.
No.
Oops. Oh, well. Well, you know what? We're going to stretch this. Eastern European, Europe borders the Atlantic.
Yeah.
So, Bulgaria doesn't border any body of water, no sea anyway. No, I don't. I think they're landlocked, but anyway. So we're gonna stretch that and say it counts. Yeah. Sure. But yeah, match was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. The only real complaint I had was the lack of psychology on the part of Malachi and Pac because, listen, I get it. They're in a tiff with each other. But what person in their right mind who is in a competitive sport for a championship lets that get in the way of them winning a match?
Yeah,
Like,
I
really?
definitely would. I don't think Pac, whatever you want to call him. I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think he should have been the one to win it.
In a way, I agree with you because I think if we're going with believability, I think Miro should have won it.
Yes.
Now that being said, I think Pac finally deserve. I think Pac deserves something for the
Okay,
bullshit
well,
he's.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but
Yeah.
like I don't think he should have been the first one to win it. I think Miro should have won it.
Well, because ironically, the reason Pac deserves something is the same reason he won the title was because the bullshit he's had to put up with in terms of his booking in AEW pretty much since he got there.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't figure out what to do with him. And if there's anyone in it, and when I'm not knocking the whole Death Triangle thing, I like them all, but out of everyone in AEW, Pac is the guy who's going to stand alone.
Yeah.
And then you put him in a trios team. And when they did that, I was like, what the fuck? When did these guys meet? This makes no sense. Now, I could be missing something.
Who knows?
I could be missing something, but they didn't explain it on television. They're like, oh yeah, these
They
guys
did.
are.
They just
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, these
Man.
guys are great friends. Fucking when? He's been in WWE and they've been in Mexico. When did this happen? They just meet each other in the airport one day? Like,
hey, let's go get a coffee. It's a black coffee.
oh, I'm a wrestler too. Let's do flips. John, I'm not knocking
Let's
their
kick a lot.
I'm not knocking any of their flips because they are
No.
so much more. Phoenix may be the best high flyer on planet Earth right now.
I can agree to disagree.
Just before you fully disagree, just remember what Phoenix can do. Well, okay, this warrants a question. So, who to your mind would you say is the best high flyer today?
Ricochet.
Oh fuck. Okay, but they had matches.
If they would let Ricochet do what he can do, I think Ricochet's probably one of the best.
Okay.
If he's not the best, he's one of the best.
You know what? I changed my answer. I agree with you. Now, for your viewing pleasure, everyone, they have wrestled before in Lucha Underground.
They have.
And
when Prince Puma, wasn't it?
What's that?
Was it Ricochet Prince Puma?
Yes.
Okay. See,
but,
I didn't watch much Lucha Underground. I've heard about it, and I seen a guy with the same tattoo, Ricochet, and I kind of put the points together and look, yeah, that's the guy.
Well, all you had to do was look up Prince Puma on Wikipedia, and Trevor Mann shows up. So, that's Ricochet. That's his real name. Which isn't a bad wrestling name.
Yeah.
Trevor Mann with 2 N's? Like, come on. It's already there.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. But okay, yeah, I'll agree with that. Ricochet's, if not the best high flyer, is one of the best. But
yeah,
Phoenix is in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, I will agree. Phoenix is in the conversation.
Definitely in the conversation. It could either one could be the better on any given night. I'll put it that way. Although I think Ricochet definitely has the size advantage, which makes it all the more impressive. Because Ricochet's not a small dude. Like, he's small compared to, like, you know, your big WWE heavyweights, but he's not a small man. Like, he's fucking 8-pack. God damn, sir. But yeah, Pac is the first ever All-Atlantic champion. And we'll see. I'm going to be honest, I don't see that title going much of anywhere. So
no. Like the TNT title, get 100 times, and then nobody's going to care.
I still like that the TNT title gets rebranded with every new champion. I actually like that.
I don't.
I love it. I think it's different. And I realize I'm one of the few, but I really like it.
I would like it if it was like a one-off thing of like one certain wrestler won it and it would change, like Austin or The Rock or somebody like they did, or like if it meant something to change. But like when it's every fucking wrestler that it changes colors or changes styles a little bit, like it's gonna get a bit repetitive, and you're just gonna have a pile of belts that's sitting.
Well, I imagine that they're not paying a ton because that. I imagine that's a title they're not investing heavily in the making of the new belts. But then again, Tony Khan
Yeah.
has unlimited money, so yeah,
Nobody has unlimited money, but well, that's a different subject.
he's got pretty close to unlimited money in terms of a wrestling company. And then we had, regrettably, the match that should not have been on this pay-per-view, although at least it was kind of a New Japan AEW crossover. We had the Bullet Club being represented by El Fantasmo along with the Young Bucks, who renewed their affiliation with the club for one night only, so they say, wink wink, versus the dudes with attitudes, brah. Oh, and this random Japanese guy named Shingo Takagi, who I guess was a Sting fan growing up. So, oh my god! Apparently, at some point, somebody kicked El Fantasmo in the nuts, and fucking Tony Schiavone. When this happens, Tony Schiavone goes, "That's my purse." And I fucking died. Oh my god. He just goes, "That's my purse." And the rest of the commentary team was like, half of them were like, "What the fuck?" And then the other ones were just dying. I'm like, you know what? I'll allow that one. It took away from the seriousness of the moment, but god damn, it was funny. Oh, fuck. So I'm dying during that moment. That made the whole match worth it. I didn't even write down who won. I believe it was the dudes.
Yeah, it was.
It was the dudes. And Shingo.
Dude.
Yeah, and Shingo got a nice little moment with Sting, which they mentioned he was a fan growing up. So it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah. That's
yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a bad match. Wasn't a great match. It was for what it was.
I mean, El Fantasmo has always kind of annoyed me because I've seen him in New Japan. I think it was shortly after he joined Bullet Club, and I'm not knocking the guy. The name makes no sense because he's a fucking white guy. He's not a luchador. He's not even from Mexico, so it makes now. I know he worked in Mexico. And I'm guessing El Fantasma was making fun of how white he was. That's Spanish for ghost, for those of you who don't know. El Fantasmo. But he's always kind of annoyed me because it always seems like he's never taking what he's doing seriously in the ring. And he strikes me as one of those guys who wouldn't even have a job right now if a buddy hadn't talked him into putting him in Bullet Club.
Probably.
I could be wrong, but that's just me. Like, I don't hate the guy, and I don't think he shouldn't wrestle, but I just think that once he got to Bullet Club, maybe he should have started taking it more seriously. Because I kind of feel like Chase Owens just got him a job. But that's just me. Next, we had the only women's match of the night. We had Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. And I got a bone to pick with AEW, and this is legitimate. If you go to the official Down the Middle Twitter account and you look up, because I was tweeting some during the special, after this match I said, I smell a tag team. Thunderstorm, perhaps? And god damn it, not even a week later, advertised as a tag team, Thunder Rosa, Toni Storm, Thunderstorm. Fuck you, I want my check.
Oh, I I did not realize that.
I have poor man's copyright, you sons of bitches. Granted, you own their contracts, so I'm not really sure how this would work out legally speaking, but at least tell them to watch down the middle.
Jeez, that's all we want. It may be one view from them.
Just give me views, fucker. I'd like to think that one of the two ladies saw that and was like, that's a really good idea. But instead of thanking me for my contribution to the wrestling industry, I was snuffed, as though I don't exist.
Hey, I'm not going to lie, and then I'll say it like it, not to get off topic. Like in our show, there's things that we do, and then like a week later, a month later, like WWE does or something, and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like one of my moves is I do a tilt-a-whirl pile driver, but I do it the Rikishi style, like the Rikishi driver. And I literally, for like a week straight, looked up that move, any kind of variation and everything, and I could not find a single person to do it. I watched one TNA, and then Brian Cage does it, and I'm like, what the hell?
Well, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. That it got me hot. But I knew I had to do something because I knew that, like I said, Tony Khan has endless money, and I do not. So he would just bury me in legal fees, and I guess I could have called Stephen P. New, but that's, Jim Cornette's thing. So instead, I whipped out some of my just CBD gummies that I got from OMG CBD, and I'm telling you what, they put me in a great mood, and then they knocked my ass right out.
Ooh, I'm gonna need to give me some of them.
You should, because they are, and if you're weird like me, I specifically told them, I said, listen, I don't want anything with THC, Delta 8, Delta 9, I don't want any of that shit. I want just CBD, and this has melatonin in it, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't want any of that bad shit. I just want the good shit. And they said, we've got that shit. And I said, cool, put that shit in my hand. And she said, $50, little man. Jay and Silent Bob reference. But anyway, these are phenomenal. I'd gotten samples of these a year prior, before they broke out on their own. And these are phenomenal. So if you're like me and you occasionally have trouble relaxing enough to fall asleep at a decent hour, these are phenomenal. And what's awesome about these, at least for me, I don't have any trouble waking up after I take them, which if I take a full dose of straight melatonin, waking me up in the morning is like, it's not a pretty sight. So I took one of these, woke up the next morning, and I wasn't mad anymore. So contact OMG CBD today, one of the many great official sponsors of the Down the Middle podcast, and get yours today. And for those of you who do, all of you stoners out there who do like the THC, the Delta 9, the Delta 8, they can't sell THC. I'm sorry. But they do have Delta 9 and Delta 8 products. And I believe they're running a promotion still that their edibles are some sort of promotion. I want to say it's buy one, get one half off. I could be wrong, but look them up on Facebook or Instagram. That's OMG CBD. I would spell it out for you, but I just did.
Ooh. I see where you went.
Yeah. So check them out, get your shit, and enjoy the weekend. So I don't recommend doing this on a Monday. Anyway, back to the Rosa Storm match. Which, by the way, I'm also going to just throw out one of my pet peeves real quick. I understand that a lot of times you will refer to people by their first name, but anytime someone's addressing Thunder Rosa, they always call her Thunder. And I'm like, you do understand that you would call her Rosa, right? Because, like, her name's not Thunder. Like you don't call Luchasaurus Lucha.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's always just, I don't know, it's weird. It always kind of like grinds my brain whenever they're like, and Thunder. It's like, God damn it, just call her Rosa. Yeah. It's like a nickname. Thunder's like a nickname. But anyway.
And the match was
Again, like I've said a couple times before, like, I'm not knocking her. I'm not saying she sucks. I don't get what the big deal is with Toni Storm. I don't get it. What am I missing? I want someone to tell me. I want someone to sit me down and say, no, this is what you need to watch to get it. No one's done that yet.
NXT UK.
I'm not going to go watch NXT UK. I'm not.
That's when she was the best. NXT UK, she was so good over there.
Okay, so you're telling me it's going downhill for her.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's her. I don't know if it's the way she's getting booked. But when she's in NXT UK, it was so good.
You know, I am actually getting ready to throw some credit WWE's way because I've noticed, not just with Toni Storm, I've noticed this with a few people. When they were in WWE, they were so good. Great match after great match after great match. And then they get to AEW where they presumably have quite a bit more freedom. And Adam Cole's probably the best example of this. And it's just like they get to AEW and then it's just like wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
Like, because I can remember, and it wasn't that long ago, when Adam Cole was in NXT and he had a match, it's like, gotta watch, must see TV. And it was.
Yep.
And honestly, now when he comes out on AEW, it kind of depends on who his opponent is. But most of the time, I'm just like, pfft. And is it just me or is he shrinking?
I don't know. It seems
he's standing next to Jay White, Adam Page, and Okada, and I'm like, is this kid lost? Like, especially if you're looking at him from the back and you can't tell it's him. Like, if he just walked out to the ring and you didn't get his music or anything and you just saw him from behind and be like, oh, that poor little fella got lost on his way to the bathroom. And again, I'm not knocking Adam Cole. I love Adam Cole. I'm just saying I have eyes. And I don't get it because he did not look that small on WWE television. How did this happen?
It's the WWE camera work.
I don't understand. Maybe he's not training as much. Because I mean, Frank, when you work at NXT, you have access to the Performance Center every day.
Yeah.
So I mean, is he not training as much, or I don't know.
I'm lying. Like, I'm not body shaming.
No, not at all. I'm just saying, like,
it seems like he's gotten a little chunkier
and yet smaller at the same time.
Yeah.
Certainly less toned. I would agree with that. Maybe it's the lighting. It could be the lighting.
It could be.
Because lighting plays a big role. And you will notice that WWE as a product is, I'm not going to say that it's darker, but it's lit differently. AEW's got a lot more just like broad lighting. Like they make it light and bright, but WWE I think has more angular lighting to where it might showcase some physiques a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. And plus the way they're booking him isn't helping him at all. It's like he's losing. Then he wins that Owen Hart tournament out of nowhere. And then he's losing some more, which I guess we'll get into this when his match comes around, but I guess he's injured again too.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. So anyway, Thunder Rosa won her match and retained, which leads to the tag team. But we'll see where that goes. I predict mediocrity.
Probably.
So next we had the unexpected good match of the night, because I thought this was going to be the shits. We had Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. And I will say this match was extremely entertaining and good, but not because of Orange Cassidy. It was because of Ospreay. My favorite moment from Ospreay is when he reached into Orange Cassidy's pocket and then pulled out a middle finger.
Yep.
I loved that. See, and here's the thing, and this is what I keep trying to get people to understand, but apparently I'm not explaining it right. That's how you do comedy in wrestling.
It's the random moments you're not going to expect, not the moments you're like.
And he's making fun of the guy. He's like, oh, he puts his hand in his pocket? Okay. Yeah, they love this shit. And may I just say, Will Ospreay is putting on a masterclass, not quite MJF level, but of being that asshole where it's like, But you can't really say anything because he's Will fucking Ospreay.
Yep.
Like, he's hilarious on Twitter. I love him on Twitter. He's funnier than hell. And that moment right there, just the... I loved it. And Ospreay again. Ospreay understood the assignment on this one. Because he let Orange Cassidy do his bullshit, but he didn't put up with it, per se. He was visibly frustrated in the ring during all this time, but thankfully he won. And when he won, it was kind of like, I got the sense that he was like, okay, I'm shutting this down. This has gone on long enough. I'm ending this. And it was allegedly for a title, but I guess there's something going on with Ospreay and Juice Robinson where Juice has the belt, but Ospreay is the champion. I think it was a little... Yeah, I think it was a little heavy. And they really flew Juice Robinson out so he could shoot a 30-second backstage with Jay White.
Oh, really?
Really? Because apparently Juice Robinson's in Bullet Club now, which I didn't know that. It's like, all right, that seems like
adding a new guy in every fucking week.
Yeah, that sounds like a waste, but whatever. So Ospreay won, thankfully. You know what? And I'm gonna say it. Orange Cassidy didn't look bad, but it was Orange Cassidy. You know, there were parts of the match where I was watching. I'm like, okay, like, but it's goofy. It's just goofy because Ospreay's obviously selling for him. He's obviously letting him get away with this stuff, and I'm starting to lose my appreciation for Orange Cassidy. And the problem with his gimmick is that it eventually gets stale because there's only so many times you can do the BS shin kicks. There's only so many times you can do the hands in the pockets before it starts to get old. And then what? The gimmick doesn't allow him to grow.
He's going to have to evolve somehow because he's done it for so long. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to be over still, but it's not going to be over as it was years prior too.
Well, and you know, there's always going to be people that when Hulk Hogan comes out, they're going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
You know, there's always going to be people that like the Ultimate Warrior thing.
Yeah.
But the majority of fans it's going to get old.
Yeah.
And and this might be in my head, so I'm fully aware that this might be my insanity. I'm kind of getting the vibe that there's less audience participation when it comes to Orange Cassidy. Compared to when he first came in. Because at first, like, when he was doing the shit, the whole arena was doing it. Now I'd say it's probably 60%.
Yeah, it's starting to definitely die down.
Yeah, it's just... And like I said, that's the problem with the gimmick, because where do you go from here? What, is he going to start trying? Well, then he loses what made Orange Cassidy Orange Cassidy. Then he just becomes another wrestler.
Yeah.
But you can't keep doing it because they're only going to buy into it for so long. So we'll see. But I predict Danhausen won't be in AEW longer than his initial contract. I don't think he's going to get recent. I think Danhausen's probably been a massive disappointment to Tony Khan. Because I think he was expecting quite a bit more, and I just...
Well, I don't think that...
I don't see it long term.
I don't know if he was... I don't think I see it long term either. But I don't think he was fully booked right either.
Well, I agree with that. But again, with somebody like Danhausen, what are you going to do long term? I think that's what AEW is slowly recognizing, that a lot of these indie-rific gimmicks, they fall apart when you have weekly television. If you see these guys once every month or every couple of months, that's different.
Yeah.
But when you see them every week on TV, it starts to unravel fairly quickly. Because we've already established that Danhausen can't actually curse people. Which was his shtick. We've already seen that. We've already seen that Danhausen can't fucking wrestle. I mean, I know he can, but I'm saying what's presented on TV.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with him? I hate to say I told you so, Not to you, just to the general. I hate to say I told you
Yeah.
so, but I told you so. Any hope he has
It's gonna
is
take
being
a
a
lot to
manager. Yeah, Danhausen will be a novelty until his contract runs out, and then he's either going to have to do a complete character change, which I don't think will happen because this has been his bread and butter for years. He'll probably just go back to the indies and start making more merch money. But now they can say,
Problem.
now they can say former AEW star Danhausen. I was on television. But and then another thing that we called, the next match we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus his mystery opponent replacement for Bryan Danielson, because Bryan Danielson was also injured before Forbidden Door. And we were right, it was Claudio.
Yep.
It was totally Claudio. We called that shit. And they've already and they've already ruined Claudio. Not granted, not at this pay-per-view. They ruined him at Blood and Guts, but
Here's something a little off topic. I watched the Up Up Down Down, which is Xavier Woods' thing, right? And they just did a 2K22 tournament for the Up Up Down Down title. And they were at the beginning talked about how they were sorry that they couldn't do it, this, that, and the other, that it was on the other side of a forbidden door. And that was because Cesaro had it.
what could they be talking about? It's a little on the nose, Woods. Thanks for spoiling the surprise.
They ended up doing it anyways.
And then, so I'm about to piss a lot of people off right now, but for the longest time, like, don't get me wrong, I like Zack Sabre Jr. I enjoy his matches, but there was always something about him that just I couldn't put my finger on. And I realized it during his match with Claudio. The one thing that I really don't like about Zack Sabre Jr.'s in-ring work is because the psychology is so bad. Because here's what he'll do. He will get somebody in the perfect hold, whether it be a choke or a submission hold or whatever. Like, he's got him. He's got him dead to rights. And then he will let go of the hold and move into something else. And he does this all the time. And I understand why he does it. He does it because this is supposed to be a competitive contest. Except that he gets them in a perfect hold that they cannot get out of. Like, because I think at one point he had Claudio and I think he had him in a crucifix. Center of the ring. Claudio can't do fuck all. Has no use of his arms. And he transitions out of it for some kind of bullshit choke. Why? I know why. Like I said. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh. That's what it is. That's why. And that's why I think against someone like Bryan Danielson, I think they would have a phenomenal match. And I'm not knocking Claudio here. They didn't have a lot of time to really put anything together. And all things considered, it was a really good match. But there were a couple moments where I'm like, if this was a real fight and he hadn't let that go, Zack Sabre would have won.
Yeah.
Like, he'll give up a choke to move into a submission. Why would you do this?
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But also, I think I said this on Twitter. It's like, you expect me to believe for 1 second that Zack Sabre Jr. weighs 209 pounds? Fuck you.
Soaking wet, maybe.
Not even. Like, fuck. I understand that he's like 6'1", 6'2", but he's... Come on. 209 pounds? What the fuck? I get it that they inflate weight, but come on, make it believable.
Yeah.
And why? Well, actually, I was gonna say, why didn't Claudio just pick him up and throw him? But Claudio actually did that. So I'm also very disappointed that the fucking spin has made its way to AEW. I've always hated that fucking move.
What?
It's
I like it.
goofy. It's goofy, and he does it during tag matches. It's somebody just drop kick him. He'll stop spinning real quick, but everybody's just like, "Whoa," just fucking watches him.
But remember when he did the Great Khali?
Okay, that was purely impressive just because he could do it.
Yes.
I wish it would go away. But I get it. The kids like it, so. All right, we're almost done. The forbidden door is almost closed. It's just open a little crack. So next we had
That's all it's going to happen.
right. Next we had the IWGP Heavyweight Title match in a four-way, which is very atypical for New Japan. Usually, particularly title matches. Title matches are almost always singles affairs. The odd, multi-man tag team title match happens, but usually they're one-on-one affairs. But we had Kazuchika Okada, the former IWGP Heavyweight title holder, versus Jay White, the current IWGP Heavyweight title holder, versus Adam Cole, for some reason, versus Hangman Page, for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah. The match was good.
I guess they won matches, right? They won qualifier matches, didn't they?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It wasn't
no.
No, I don't think they did.
Remember.
I don't remember either.
No, I don't think.
Yeah, the match wasn't. I'm not gonna say it wasn't great by New Japan's title match standards, but it wasn't a bad match.
It was definitely what we expected though with Jay White winning.
Yeah, I don't really see any other way they could have done that.
There was no reason for Adam Cole to win or Hangman unless they were to go over to New Japan and.
Which this is the same reason. This is what bothers me. I get why you'd want to have the two heavyweight titles up for grabs, but with this type of event, it's a New Japan guy's going to win it. And it makes no sense for Okada to win it because they've got long-term plans for White. So we all knew he was going to win. And same thing with the AEW title. We all knew Mox was going to win, even though I still maintain that it should have been Tanahashi for reasons I stated in the previous episode. You should just go watch it. But I saw that coming because they're just setting up for Mox Punk, and then they're just going to keep going business as usual with Punk. But
here's my opinion about the whole New Japan World Title thing. With it being Forbidden Door, they should have had New Japan's top talent versus AEW's top talent, almost like a Survivor Series type of deal. They had their world champion versus their world champion.
That would have been better.
TNT versus their what title is it over there?
There right now, there's probably would have been the never open weight because they unified their intercontinental and heavyweight titles.
Yeah, and shit like that, and then had their big 5-on-5.
Yes, I agree.
And then had little piddly matches here and there that are just singles matches that make sense storyline wise.
But
between New Japan and.
But what you do there, and particularly because this is kind of the first introduction between a major co-promotion. Honestly, New Japan should have booked this because that's how they would have booked it. They would have had a lot of multi-man tag matches, might have had a singles match here or there. And I don't know who this would be, but honestly, I would have liked to have seen Taiji Ishimori in a singles match against Darby Allin. That would have been fucking phenomenal. And then you can have Bullet Club versus. And actually, you know what? I wouldn't even. You can hint all throughout the night that there might be some sort of reconciliation, and you don't even have to answer it. Just there might be some sort of reconciliation between Bullet Club and the Elite. You tease it because this allows you to tell stories going forward.
What you could have done is to start off the show, they could have done some battle royal that was New Japan and AEW to see who was the top of. You understand what I mean.
Oh, I've got one for you. You could have made the Battle Royal, and the winner of the Battle Royal gets to be in a three-way match between the IWGP and AEW title holders.
Oof. That night made it a three-way, or
that night. Yeah, and it's just bragging rights because none of the titles are up for grabs. And I know some people will be like, oh, but then it doesn't mean anything. It's like, but imagine. Let's say, just for shits and giggles, Hangman Page wins the Battle Royal. And then he wins the match between the IWGP, and he doesn't have to win clean. I mean, it can be luck of the draw, but he beats Switchblade and Mox. He wins that match. Well, now all of a sudden, Hangman's a contender for either title. And he doesn't have to win either one, but it makes the night interesting. And then you have a lot of, multi-man matches. I would have loved to have seen Ishimori and Darby, and I still maintain Darby should really go over there for a Best of the Super Juniors tournament. There's so much. It just make it a super show, and it's New Japan. Like, who's got the best wrestlers? And the pre-show could have been the LA Dojo guys versus guys from the factory.
Yep.
It's right there.
Why aren't we the bookers?
I'll do it for half. I'll do it for a quarter. We'll do it for a quarter. We'll split the quarter.
Yeah, I'm gonna split the quarter.
I'll split the quarter with you. You do it, Tony. Reach out to me on Instagram, bro.
In a heartbeat.
Oh fuck yeah, in a heartbeat. I'm telling you what, and I'm not trying to shoot my own horn here, but if we were booking that show, I do think that
we're done so good.
Oh no, I still got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that if you and I were booking that show, it would. I think we'd get WWE, especially if we had access to money. Like if somebody was a free agent and be like, "Can we book this guy?"
Yeah, like if they're like, "All right, you got this kind of money here, you book this," and I feel like we could have booked something better.
Fuck yeah, I agree.
Out a line.
Yeah, and then honestly, I don't want to spend too much time on the Mox versus Tanahashi match because honestly, I'm not saying it was bad, but I was let down a little bit because unfortunately, Tanahashi is not as young as he used to be. And I don't blame him for not really killing himself during this match because he's got stuff to do in Japan. I don't really understand why Moxley was bleeding.
I don't know. That's like I said, I didn't catch much of Forbidden Door, and I don't know why it was either. I don't know where it came from.
I couldn't tell you. Like, I think Moxley just has this thing where he just wants to bleed all the time. And I want JR to be like, listen, Mox, like, I get that you like this stuff, but when you do it as often as you do it, it takes away from it when you do it. Because my first response was like, wait, when did he do that? But obviously, as we called, Jay White retained his title, and that's where Adam Cole, I think, got injured. I don't know the details of it. And then Moxley beat Tanahashi for the interim. Which actually, I have changed my tune on the interim title. I kind of like it. And here's why. Here's why. I'll explain it. Because I came to this conclusion on my own, but I will explain this. Do you remember how annoying it was in WWE every time somebody had to vacate their title due to injury, and then they come back and they always say the same thing? I never lost that title. It's like, you're right. They never did lose that title. So, having an interim champion, you automatically have something set up for when the injured champion comes back, because you have to.
That's true. I do. Okay, now that you explained it like that, it does make it. I do understand it better because, like you said, like in WWE, when they come back to like, I never lost it, this, that, and the other, and now it could go one of two different ways. One, they got to work their way back to it, which could be in 1 week, it could be in 6 weeks, it could be a year from now when they finally get it. But when you're interim, you play out the injury, and then you basically have that one-off match to retain it or not.
Right. Now, I will say it was stupid when they had the interim TNT title because Cody was only gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But since
that was dumb.
Yeah, since Punk is going to be presumably gone for a while, now it makes sense. And I think This context made me really sit and think about it, because first it was like, oh god, another with this interim. But I'm like, well, if Punk's gone for 4 or 5 months, well, you do kind of need a heavyweight champion. And instead of having him vacate it, because they obviously have plans with Punk in that championship, you can do things with it in the meantime, and then right when Punk is back, okay, well, this match has to be next because Punk never lost it and he won it, so it makes sense. Alrighty, so that was Forbidden Door. I will say it wasn't nearly as bad as Double or Nothing, but
It was not.
I was left wanting more. Not more of this pay-per-view, but I was left wanting. It felt more like an AEW show with some Japanese guys in it, as opposed to like an actual co-event.
Yeah.
So I think what they should do, because I do think this should be an annual thing, kind of like how Ring of Honor New Japan had War of the Worlds. But I think they should go back and forth every year. So like in 2022, they had it in the US. I think in 2023, they should do it in Japan.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't either,
Just
unfortunately. But
yeah, as much as we want it to happen, I don't see it happening at all.
well, and I kind of understand why. I understand that because, again, if you look at it from New Japan's perspective, like, it's nice, but it's not really necessary.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and transition to Money in the Bank, and I will preface my views on the fact that I started watching this late. I was already tired, but I knew we were doing the podcast, so I decided, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit through it. That being said, the first match didn't help at all. I thought it was a good idea to open with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, but
now there were some good spots.
There were a lot of bad ones.
There was a lot of bad ones too. Now when I believe Shotzi got hurt.
Well, yeah,
At one point.
could it possibly have been when she hit her head on the ladder? I watched that and I was like, oh, and Shotzi, again, I haven't seen a lot of her, so maybe you can shed some light on this. I saw her do a lot of things where she fucked up.
She did.
Almost got people hurt. It's a miracle nobody got hurt in this match. I mean, apparently Shotzi did.
Yeah, her as a character I like, but I think she was pulled a little too early.
Yeah. So for those who didn't watch it, the participants were Becky Lynch, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Raquel Gonzalez, because I refuse to say Raquel Rodriguez because it's fucking stupid. Lacey Evans, who is apparently a Marine now. I know she was actually a Marine, but I guess she had a character change. Shotzi and Alexa Bliss. And it's always a pleasure to see Alexa Bliss. Don't know what they're doing with her right now, but...
Well, at one point we thought there was going to be an angle between Liv and Alexa. The way that was getting booked on Raw.
They don't know what they're doing with Liv Morgan. They change that shit every week. And I have a bone.
What they did. So glad, so happy.
Nope, I hated it.
That she finally won it.
Fucking hated it, and I'll explain why. I'll explain why when we get there. And I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna ruin it for you. I will ruin it for you, but this was painful to watch. Like, this is gonna sound really bad, and I'm sorry, but there's no other way to say it. If you have girls that can't pick up the ladder convincingly, don't have them pick up the fucking ladders and do spots with them. Because it's obvious. I can't put my finger on it because I believe she's strong enough. I don't know what happened, but it didn't look good. The psychology was non-existent. They were like, at one point, I forget who it was, but Raquel's got the ladder and she's swinging at people, and somebody, I think it was Shotzi, but I could be wrong. I don't remember who this was, but somebody gets in the ring and waits for her to turn around so that she can get hit with the ladder. She just fucking stands there in the corner and waits for Raquel to turn around and look at her and then runs at her. What the fuck? And then I forget who it was.
Yeah.
Shotzi picked somebody up, and then the ladder gave out. I think she picked up Alexa, which I'm not
Oh no,
dogging.
no. What had happened is she was going to give her a German, and I don't think she realized the ladder was there.
Oh well, then I am blaming her because the ladder buckled,
Which, yeah,
and that was just one of many spots that I don't know. Like I get that they're gonna have the ladder match, and I don't know. It's like Asuka and Becky were fine as always. Liv didn't do anything egregious. In fact, she had one of the cooler spots where, and she's lucky it didn't go wrong because it could have been really bad really fast when the ladder got pushed down and she stopped it with her foot on the rope.
yeah.
Could you imagine if her foot slipped?
Oh Jesus.
That's what I'm thinking the whole time. I'm like, oh, she's so lucky that didn't fuck up. She could have torn the shit out of her knee.
Yeah, but I think I do. I think Liv deserved it. I really do.
She does, but I think she deserved it. I think she deserved better. And I'll because for those of you who didn't watch it, Liv Morgan won, which I was happy for. I'm not mad she won Money in the Bank. I'm mad at how she cashed it in.
I am not mad.
I'm even more.
I did not expect it.
Anyway. So next we have a match that honestly, I'm going to be honest, I should have liked this match because it has two guys that I like. I enjoy watching them in the ring, but I think I was so just ugged from the women's Money in the Bank ladder match that I was out of it. We had Theory versus Lashley for the U.S. title. I'm still trying to figure out. I think it was a really good match. See, that's what I'm saying. I think it was too, but I think I was so taken out of it by the match before that I was just kind of like half-ass watching it. Because I like Austin Theory and I like Bobby Lashley. This should have been perfect. I can't. I understand that I'm not supposed to like Austin Theory, but I don't know. There's just something about him that I just don't fucking like. It could be the smarmy overuse of a selfie thing. I get major beta male vibes from him until he starts wrestling, and then I'm like, this is fine.
His face is like, if the Fiend face was a real face, it would be him when he smiles.
He and Sammy both have a gift for having, like, they're both good-looking dudes, but they both have very punchable faces.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock. That's a testament to their heelish abilities. I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's because Austin has such a young face, but he has just a little bit of facial hair, and I feel like either grow a beard or shave it. This whole half-ass thing is not... I think if he's a babyface, he should have a beard, and ironically, if he's a babyface, he should have a beard, and if he's a heel, he should be clean-shaven. Just be like, look at me. But Lashley won the match, which I was a little surprised by.
I was not.
I figured I figured they'd go with Theory as the U.S. title holder for longer. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. But next we had the Raw Women's title match, Bianca versus Carmella. Now, honestly, the end of this match is where I'm like, oh, Liv Morgan's going to come out and cash in.
That was the better of the two women's matches, in my opinion.
Oh, I've got some stuff that's going to get me some heat for the Ronda match, but I saw.
Oh my god!
I mean, why else? Why else would Carmella go in there and beat her up? Like, I thought they were setting up for it, but I guess not.
Well, I think it was honestly a rematch. I think it was a rematch, honestly, for when what was it? SummerSlam 2020, I think is what it was. It was Bianca. It was supposed to be Bianca versus Bayley, and Bayley got injured, so it was supposed to be Carmella instead. And then that's when Becky came back.
Maybe
So I think it was a rematch of what it was supposed to be between Bianca and Carmella.
Probably.
But Bianca came out and did that.
Yeah. I wrote down Bianca wins, doesn't matter. Because, I mean,
It didn't matter.
it for most WWE specials, because I'm not calling them pay-per-views, for most WWE specials, it seems like the way they book them is like, okay, we need a match to fill this slot, as opposed to this is something that people want to see. Where can we put it on a big show?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we have to have a world, even though there wasn't a world title match on this one. It's like, we have to have a world title match, which honestly, you should. So check. I know they're setting that up for SummerSlam, but it's still kind of weird. It's like, okay, well, and we have 2 women's titles, so we have to defend both of those. And we got a mid card title, so we have to defend at least one of those. Oh, and there's tag teams, so we have to. And then what are you left with? Like, you're not left with a lot. Oh, and we have to get 2 Money in the Bank matches because we have to be, inclusive and non-sexist.
Which we ever seen the IC title defended at a pay-per-view in, I don't know.
A while.
I don't remember who the IC champion is right now.
Fuck, who is the IC champion?
Beats me.
Hang on.
I honestly do not know.
I'm going to find out.
Remember. Is it Sammy? No, it's not Sammy.
It's WWE.com, not we.com.
Not
Okay,
Shinsuke.
let's see. Superstars.
Oh, it's Gunther. It's Gunther.
When the fuck did that happen?
He beat Ricochet a couple weeks ago for it.
Oh, yep, there he is. Oh, that's why because nobody gives a fuck. Okay. Oh, Vacant has the women's tag team titles. Nice to see a winner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Dana Brooke is the 24/7 champion. They need to get rid of that stupid thing.
They've been doing it less and less every week now.
So now we're just getting to a point where now it's not even funny now. Now it's just sad. But yeah, I totally thought Liv was going to come out, and I'm like, okay, that's acceptable. But we'll get into my. Oh, and then I had to make note of this because it was so cringy. We had just this cringe-filled commercial spot for the WWE credit card with Alexa Bliss and Lily. And
I don't think it was that bad.
Dude, it was bad. It was so bad. Like, and I'll put it this way: if it had been on Raw, it wouldn't have been as bad. But this was bad. But it did remind me of something. If you're looking for ways to make money, particularly if you're trying to do it from home, which is ideal, there's a way to do that. And there's a link in the description where you can learn more. Hustlers University, not going to spend too much time on it because this is just a shameless plug for money, much like the WWE credit card. But this is an even better deal because this makes you money. You don't just spend money. I mean, you do spend some money, but you can make a lot more money. And there's 18 different ways you can do it. $49 a month, and you can make unlimited money if you put enough work into it. I am currently enrolled, so I can vouch for it. It is legit, but you do have to put the work in. It's not one of those like, oh, just work for 2 hours a week and you can make $1 million. No, it's not that. You're going to put some serious work in. Link in the description. Join up today. You can learn, crypto, affiliate marketing, dropshipping, copywriting, stocks, NFTs. There's so much stuff to learn, so much ground to cover. I'm in 2 of the campuses right now, and I'm learning a shit ton, including, if you follow us on TikTok, I have tweaked the way we do some of our TikTok videos with extremely good results. So, join today, thank me tomorrow. Anyway, back to the pay-per-view. Next match I skipped, and you'll know why as soon as I tell you what match it was. It was the Usos versus the Street Profits.
You skipped it?
Fuck yeah, I did.
It was such a great match.
But
we knew the outcome.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So it was so good.
It
probably match of them. It was probably match of the night.
I can't get over how much I dislike the Street Profits. It's so. First of all, they're using the improper spelling of profits, and that just bothers me. Unless they're talking about making money, which makes no sense because they hold red Solo cups and not like money. Private Party makes sense. Street Profits is stupid. But anyway, surprise, surprise, the Usos won. Though I did have one question, and I know the answer to it now, but when I was watching, I said, why are the champions coming out first? Oh, it's so they can do a promo. Okay. And now we get to.
I don't even want, hey, can we skip this match?
We can't because I have to complain. And I got some legitimate heat the last time I talked about a Ronda Rousey match because I pointed out that her ring gear must have been too small for her. Because she spent many, many times during the match adjusting herself. And here
that wasn't even my point.
Oh no, I was watching for it because I noticed it at WrestleMania, and I'm just like, I think her ring gear is too small because she's pulling her shorts out of her crotch like multiple times. It was like just wear different gear because I know she didn't wear that shit in the UFC, and if she did, she didn't adjust it because that'll get you knocked the fuck out. And that's a pet peeve of mine when guys and girls are laying unconscious in a wrestling ring and they go and they adjust their tights. It's like you're supposed to be unconscious, but you have the wherewithal to adjust your clothes. Okay.
Yeah.
But Ronda Rousey defended SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. And
I'm going to ask you a question. You caught it. At one point, Ronda had Natalya in a sharpshooter.
And she can do a sharpshooter. Yes, I saw that.
No, did you see it?
Yeah, she did.
You seen the pose?
Yep. I actually like that.
Pose. And you know why she's done it right?
Because she's been trained properly by Natalya?
No. That was Bret Hart's birthday. That
day. Well, she's also wrestling Natty, but yes, that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, it was like a homage back to when it was Bret versus Shawn.
Well, and it's also she's a heartbreaker because Natalya, like there were layers to it. I actually liked it. One of the commenters is like, "Oh, she's a heartbreaker." Oh, I get it. I'm like, I mean, I got it before you said it, but can we remove Byron? Yeah, can we remove Byron Saxton from commentary forever, please?
Please.
Forever. He's not good. I will tolerate Corey Graves because while I don't particularly like him, he's at least good. When he's not, I hate him as a heel commentator because he's too over the top with it to the point where he's unintelligent.
As long as they don't get rid of Pat McAfee, I'm okay.
You know what? And this is sad because I don't particularly like Pat McAfee on commentary, but he's one of the better ones.
That's true.
I mean, I don't particularly care. But I miss JR and the King.
So do I. I really do. And in my opinion, I think in my opinion, I think when JR finally retires and calls it quits, it needs to be in WWE.
You know what? I don't agree because they've disrespected him too much over the years. I don't think JR will ever officially retire, but I think you'll start seeing him in a more limited capacity. I'd like to see him call some NWA stuff every once in a while. Call some New Japan stuff. Obviously AEW stuff.
It would have been cool to see him call Ric Flair's match, even his last match.
Now, where is that? Is that going to be an NWA?
It's a Crocker Promotions.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. In that's Crocker Promotions is still affiliate, whatever the word is, with WWE. So Ric Flair is kind of back with WWE again now. And we still don't know who Flair's face.
Huh. Yeah, I would like to see. I think that would be apropos. That would be appropriate.
And we still don't know who Flair's going to face.
Yeah, but it'll be good no matter what. But so my biggest problem of the night is Liv Morgan cashing in her Money in the Bank against Ronda after she's had a match. And the reason I have a problem with this is because that's a heel move. What I would have liked to have seen Liv Morgan do is, depending on who she wanted to go up against, which I could see, I'll be honest, I couldn't really see her going up against Ronda seriously, so I think she should have shown up on Raw. Actually, here's what I would have done if I was booking it, is you have that Carmella beating her up, and then you have Liv Morgan run out, so you think she's going to cash in, but then she uses the briefcase to get Carmella out, and then they kind of have a stare down, and then Liv leaves and they go on to the next match or whatever, and then Liv comes out on Raw on Monday and openly challenges Bianca for the Raw Women's title at SummerSlam, where she will then win. That's a baby. Now, if you're turning Liv Morgan heel, then that changes. And what really added insult to injury on this one, and again, I get it. Liv Morgan deserves it. That's fine. I'm not disputing that. I think she does deserve it. But then having Ronda Rousey, the quote-unquote baddest woman on the planet, get beat in a cheap-ass way and then hug her? What?
See, I don't know.
What? This is a woman who is ready to tear Natalya's throat out. And then Liv Morgan bitches out and cashes in after she's had a grueling match, and then after she loses her title, she goes, "Shucksy doodles." No, come on.
What? It's not like Liv attacked Natalya or Ronda after the match or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
She cleanly got in there. She handed the briefcase and said, "I'm cashing in," and then they had their 2-minute match.
And then she almost lost.
She did.
Which I'm like, I don't know. It seemed so cheap and manufactured to me. I would have liked to have seen, because again, Liv Morgan's a babyface of babyfaces right now because the crowd's so behind her. You could have gotten a lot more out of this if you had made it a straight. You know, you can even say, like, she could cut, and Liv Morgan could cut this promo on Raw when she's talking to Bianca, and she can even say something that's like, "Oh no, I was gonna cash in. That's what I was coming out to do. I was going to cash in. I had to get rid of Carmella, but then I just saw you lying there. And I couldn't win that way because it would be so cheap and it wouldn't mean anything to me. So, yeah, but I'm going to challenge you at SummerSlam."
But Ronda's on. I think Ronda's on her way out anyways.
Okay, so have Natty win, and then she deserves it, and everybody's happy. But no. See, this is the problem that WWE does a lot, is they make things too complicated when they don't need to be. Like, well, we got to get the title off Ronda, but here we have Natalya Neidhart, who has been a workhorse for almost 20 years, if not 20 years. I don't remember how long she's been with the company. And time after time after time, she's put other girls over when she was clearly more deserving, clearly better in the ring. This, that, and the other. She starred in our stupid fucking TV show, you know, all the time and was the butt of several jokes. We've insulted her family. We've insulted her dead uncle, who we fucking killed. And we've given her one world title? Fuck off. Like, and WWE is always like, "Oh, well, we want to be a role model for young women everywhere." Really, fuckers? No, you don't. Don't lie to me. You could actually be a good role model by putting that title on someone who fucking worked to deserve. Not saying that Ronda Rousey didn't deserve it, but if Ronda has to lose the title, fucking give it to the woman that trained her. Fuck. And don't tell me that Natalya could be sitting in the back in street clothes and be like, "Hey, Natty, we need you to go wrestle so-and-so. Never wrestled her before? Okay, no fucking problem, because I'm fucking Natalya Neidhart."
Yep.
You can put her in there with fucking anybody. Come on.
It's true.
And Liv Morgan deserves it. And frankly, Bianca deserves a break. So put the title on Liv. Bianca goes away for a little while, and then she can come back and keep doing her thing. Like, this is not complicated. This is basic fucking storytelling. But Liv Morgan's a baby. Now, like I said, if you're going to turn Liv Morgan heel, that changes things. But that should have been the heel turn. Not with the hug afterward. But I think that would have been really stupid because then the audience turns on her. Or at least the audience is supposed to turn on her. Which, let's be real, the audience isn't going to turn on Liv Morgan, so you shouldn't turn her heel. But you also shouldn't have her act like a heel. But heel and babyface don't mean anything in WWE anymore because they're pushing Austin Theory like a babyface, but he's obviously a heel because he's with McMahon.
Who knows? That Austin Theory thing's got me so fucking all over the place. It's unreal.
That's part of the problem with watching WWE now. Because again, Roman Reigns, perfect example. He's supposed to be a heel, but everybody fucking loves him. Everybody loves the bloodline, but they're supposed to be heels. It just doesn't make any sense.
He's finally what everybody wanted him to be.
I know, right? But and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the last match. I couldn't take anymore. I watched who was coming out. I watched who was coming out, and I thought maybe, but we had Matt Riddle, who I can't stand what they're doing to the poor guy. Seth Rollins, who they're freaking killing. I don't like his new gimmick. I think it's dumber than fuck. I know everybody's like doing the thing. I think it's fucking dumb. Let's see. Then we had Almost a Wrestler. Madcap Moss, who I don't even understand how he has a fucking job there. Sami Zayn, who they've turned from a credible wrestler, one of the best in the business, into a homeless crazy person. Sheamus, who's not bad, but just kind of there. Drew McIntyre, who lately, again, is not bad. He's just kind of there. And then Theory, who's already had a fucking match tonight.
Yeah. It was literally last second, and like, the match and some of the spots were good. The match wasn't bad. There's nothing like bad spots wise. It was kind of a match that happened, and then nobody expected Theory to win.
Yeah, and this lineup kind of illustrates the problem I've had with the last couple of men's Money in the Bank ladder matches. Remember back in the good old days when it was a way for a mid-carder to get to the next level? And it was done sparingly. Yeah. Like, remember when it was at WrestleMania? And it meant something, where being Mr. Money in the Bank was like a career-defining moment.
I missed that.
When you might have one main eventer in there just to make everybody, like, you'd have a Kane in there occasionally just to make everybody look good. You know, but it mostly consisted of like upper-level mid-carders who just needed that break.
I remember when the first one ever happened, and it was so great.
My favorite one actually was WrestleMania 23's because, I mean, shit. None of those guys were main eventers, but they tore the fucking house down. Shelton Benjamin is not a human.
I'm trying to think that WrestleMania. Okay, I remember that one now.
I'm gonna find the lineup real quick because I remember some of who was in there, but I don't remember everybody.
I think it was Shelton.
I know Punk was there. Kofi was Finlay. There. I thought. Yeah, Finlay.
Kofi.
Hold on, I'm gonna look real quick. Let's see. Jesus, come on.
Yeah. The rest of Money in the Bank was it was definitely probably my favorite one just because it was the original one, and I remember watching that WrestleMania live.
Oh, okay. So we had Edge, Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, King Booker, Mr. Kennedy, Matt Hardy, Finlay, CM Punk. Wait a minute. This isn't right. Where's Shelton Benjamin? I might be thinking of a different one. I can't be. Shelton Benjamin was totally in that match. I think they got this mixed up. I don't remember. I just remember Shelton Benjamin and Punk were in the match. Anywho.
And maybe take about 25.
No, that's the thing, because
Punk,
I have it on DVD. That's how I remember.
I don't know then.
I don't either. I can't remember. But yeah. Austin Theory lost the US title and then won Money in the Bank, so figure that out. It's almost like they needed to get the title off of him.
So, my new theory with that.
See what you did there.
That one. And I think it may get booked this way. I think Roman versus Brock at SummerSlam. Theory's going to cash in.
You're probably right.
At SummerSlam. But what'll happen is, since it's a last man standing match, if Theory cashes in, it makes it a 3-way, and it has to be dealt with a pin instead.
See, he'd wait till somebody won, though. Unless he's a complete fucking idiot, which by virtue of that, he'll cash in before there's a winner. Be like, I'm going to make this a 3-way match because I'm a babyface now, except I'm not a babyface, but I'm going to act like one. I'm probably going to cash in at the beginning. He's probably going to come out with a chair, cash in, and then hit somebody with it, try to pin him, completely forgetting that there's a third person there.
Or what he could do is, it could be the last man standing match, and there's no rules. So he could run in and use the chair, take them both out, cash in, and then pin either war.
Or he could not be a dumbass, wait for somebody to win that match, and then cash in, and then hit that person with the chair.
Yeah, but then he get disqualified and not win it.
Oh, yeah, good point. Hit him with the chair. Hit him with the chair and then cash in.
Or the briefcase, either
or the briefcase. Yeah, I don't know. I see that happening too, because if WWE is good at anything, they're good at taking something that's really good and then shitting the bed with it. Yep. Because let's be real, Theory versus Lesnar, okay. But they've already buried Brock Lesnar beyond repair when Seth Rollins beat him in 5 minutes in the opening match at a WrestleMania. So,
touche.
I remember watching that WrestleMania. I was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Apparently, Brock had a flight. I don't know. But anyway, the Forbidden Door has been closed, and all my money in the bank is gone. We lost it. We lost it all.
We gotta get a shirt made that says that.
That's punny, I tell you. That's punny. Well, if you don't have anything to add, I say we wrap this bad boy up, and then we'll see everybody else, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks, where we'll find something else to talk about.
Hey, I'm good on this end.
All right. Everyone, thank you for joining us once again for Down the Middle. We know you love it. But like all good things and all bad pay-per-views, eventually it must end. So if you enjoyed this episode, please tell all your friends, tell your mailman, tell your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your homies, your home slices, as it were, to watch the show, because we book shit better than both companies do. So, and if you prefer,
tell your pet fish. TV too.
Yes, exactly. Tell the pet fish. But if you enjoy listening to the podcast as opposed to watching our beautiful faces talk about the industry that we love so dearly and tenderly, you can, if you want to, you can check us out on the audio streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon, Audible. That's for the hoity-toity people that like people to know that they read, but they don't really read. They listen to it. But it's like, who's going to say, I listened to Moby Dick? No, they're going to say they read it, but we all know they listened to the audiobook. Come on. Like, let's be real. Nobody's going to read it except the nerds. Yeah. This coming from someone who's read Moby Dick. But anyway, that's unimportant. And then there's some other small ones that nobody listens to, but they're there. So if you want to be different and weird, you can listen to it on like Stitcher and Radio Now. And you can also listen to it directly on Anchor.fm. So like if you don't want to use your smartphone, just go on your little computer, type in Anchor.fm, search for Down the Middle, and we'll be there. And the best part is, too, all of our sponsor links are now on the audio streaming platforms as well. And they's clickable, son. So if you're listening to this on Spotify and you're like, damn, I'd really like to get involved. I'd really like to get in Hustlers University and start making money. Guess what? Links in the description along with all of our other, links that we have, our wonderful sponsors, our other partners. You can check out XCW Wrestling in there. Link is in the description. And just have a good old time. Unfortunately, we don't have a link for OMG CBD yet, but that is coming. So we're going to make it even easier for you to get high. How's that for service?
Oh, man. Right at the fingertips.
We got you. We got you the best candles in the world so that you can set the mood and de-stress. You can log into Hustlers University, make some money, take some of that money, buy some CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9, get lit off your fucking ass, and watch some wrestling. We've got it all. We've got it all laid out for you. All you have to do is click on some shit. We watch what? Oh,
they watch down the middle.
Watch down the middle and be tripping balls. Be awesome. I don't do that stuff, but I'm guessing it would be awesome. But anyway, that is all we have for you this week. Check us out in 2 weeks. We'll figure something else to talk about. I don't know what events are coming up, but we might just do another fun episode. We might do our bitch session about the spots that just
there has been
piss us off.
Too.
Talk of what?
We have been talking about other stuff too, possibly.
Yeah, we got to make sure that can happen though, because I have a feeling. I need to confirm. I just need to confirm.
Maybe.
Probably. I just have to confirm. But anyway, that's all we have for today. Go away now.